What is up, y'all? Ace Trainer X here, and I really need a haircut. But that's actually not why we're here. I want to talk about the 5 new cards that just dropped for Shrouded Fable. And I'm going to rate all these cards based on their competitive value. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below. It really helps me out as a new YouTuber, and I love you guys so much for it. Let's get to the newsroom. All right, well, let's start by talking about Slither Wing. This guy. Whew, he's brighter than a Crayola, but the art is actually super cool. I'm a huge fan of this art. It looks really cool. Like, I don't know what those things are, like art pins or whatever. It's pretty cool, whatever it is. On this gentleman, we have HP 140, fighting colorless, Iron Buster, 20 plus damage. If your opponent has a future Pokemon in play, this attack does 20 entire more damage. Okay. Fighting colorless, Smashing Wings. 130 damage, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. So this guy is an absolute tech against future decks, most notably Turbo Hands, if anyone in your area is still actually playing Turbo Hands, and if Iron Thorns becomes a menace somehow. Don't forget, kids, Iron Hands is still allergic to fighting, and this bug smacks for an entire one-hit KO. That is awesome. This card reminds me of that Japanese dude who went 10th in Aichi because, you know, he was playing that list with just the 4 Iron Thorns. This card would be the bane of his existence if it existed. So overall, this card is pretty cool. I like it. I can definitely see it being played as a tech for sure, especially if your local meta is still swamped with weirdo future box players like myself, or not future box, weirdo future Pokemon players like myself. But overall, it's a pretty good card. This is a good reveal. I actually will rate this silly little Moth a B. I like him. All right, next we got Iron Moth. Dang, this art is super cool and asymmetric, and I don't really know. It has like this whole tribal thing going on, and I just absolutely love it. Colorless, Suction, 30. Heal this Pokemon for the same amount of damage you did to your opponent's active Pokemon. Okay, whatever. Fire, Colorless, Wild Rejector, 120 damage. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's active Pokemon. Okay. This card's kind of bad, right? I mean, it doesn't fit into any existing future archetype, and 3 energy for its second attack is absolutely whack, especially for a tech. I guess it's another card to consider if your local meta is absolutely flush with ancient box players or ancient Pokemon players. The good news here is that all of the attackers in Ancient Box are typically actually ancient Pokemon, so if you did have this tech go off, it would actually go off. The bad news is that I don't believe any ancient Pokemon is weak to fire, so it would absolutely be a 2-tap in the best case scenario. Most basic ancient Pokemon that I've seen played are around like, 140. Overall, I rate this card a C. It's okay, but I think we could have done better. All right, let's check out these comments. It's good to have 2 cards that are Future Hate and Ancient Hate, but the cost of the damage attacks are way too bad. Ancient, Mothkin, 1-hit KO, Iron Hands, true, but that it's a very narrow usage. Narrow in, I guess, a high competitive level, but I always think about the local meta, 'cause that's mostly what I play, and there are a few Turbo Hands players in the local meta, so it really just depends on where you're playing cards. Racist bugs, okay? Racist bugs, races against future and ancient. That's the thing, I guess, that guy is saying, okay? It's also any future, so you do a 140 if they even bench it? Wait, what? Did I miss something? I see what they're saying, okay? So they're just saying if there is a future Pokemon in play, it does 120 more damage, so it can do 140. So that could make it good against the Miraidon EX matchup, so it might be a tech against Miraidon EX in that case. If they have an Iron Hands on the bench, it'll still Curse Smack Miraidon EX or whatever for the 140. So the Wing is a solid response to Iron Hands. It is, if your meta is Iron Hands. Really heavily dependent on what you're playing and where you're playing cards. As a future box player, I don't feel safe around Slither Wing anymore. Yeah, same though, same. It's okay, we still have 2 months. Okay, let's talk about Daddy Xerosic and Xerosic's plan. It's a supporter card. Your opponent discards cards from their hand until they have 3 cards in their hand. Okay. This dude reminds me of Dr. Eggman from Sonic. That's kind of wild, right? This card seems like it really only exists for the jank level, but for like Arbok EX with strong hand control. But I guess it is really hard to win a game when you don't have any cards to play. It would be especially funny if you Xerosic down to 3, because those 3 cards are going to be the most important cards your opponent has, and then you Arbok EX them to discard 2 more. That's gotta hurt. You could potentially even do that faster with that new Luxray EX card that they just spoiled and a double turbo energy or something, especially considering that new Colress that fetches an energy card. That would actually speed up the Luxray EX gameplay. This might close the loop for hand control, and that's actually pretty exciting. Will hand control decks become competitive? Maybe, but they will sure pop up at your local game store and you're gonna have a ton of fun playing with no cards in your hand. Overall, I feel like Xerosic is probably gonna be more annoying than anything, but when you compare it to other things like Hand Trimmer that we've seen lately that really haven't been played, I do believe Xerosic might be strictly better, especially pairing it with Arbok EX or Luxray EX is gonna be a wild. I rate this card a B. You know what? It's very playable. Maybe archetype spawning. We'll just have to see. Maybe not specifically archetype spawning, but definitely helping Arbok EX and maybe Luxray EX. All right, we got the Inkay, and he's definitely like a little cute little guy with his little face doing little facial stuff. Colorless, Mischievous Tentacle. Look at the top card of your opponent's deck. You may have your opponent shuffle their deck. Okay. Dark. Peck, 10 damage, powerful. Alright, yeah, well, he could, I guess, be slotted into Arbok EX. It's definitely an interesting card, and it's something you can do early game, but I just don't see it, guys. I don't see it being played. While funny, I don't really think it's playable. Maybe I'm just totally missing something. If I'm completely missing the mark here, then please tell me in the comments below. But unless I'm proven wrong, I rate this card a D. It does not seem good at all. Malamar, and man, this art is actually super sick. It's like he's in a lab or something, and he's like getting ready to do some tentacle stuff. Yeah, we're not going to get into that. Dark Conspiracy Tentacles. Switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. This attack does 120 damage to the new active Pokemon. If you did not play Xerosic's plan from your hand during this turn, this attack does nothing. Dark Colorless Spinning Attack, 90 damage. Ooh. Okay, so nobody cares about spinning attack, but Conspiracy Tentacles is actually pretty interesting. If you just need like one prize card left, or if you're just trying to take out an annoying tech or something, this gusts something up for you, like maybe like, you know, a Bidoof that's just sitting there hanging out. Although that assumes you played Xerosic, which maybe you did, maybe you didn't. My problem with this, if it's supposed to be like a late game play, this assumes you can actually play Xerosic and your opponent actually does have more than 3 cards in your hand, which I guess rip your local Tinkaton player. This is a Dunsparce's player worst nightmare. I still think these would only be included in like Arbok EX, and I honestly remain unconvinced otherwise. I might be wrong. It seems playable, but not great overall. So I rate this card an entire C. It's playable, but niche. Let's check out these silly little comments here. They want Arbok EX or Luxray to be a thing. I totally agree with like Hand Trimmer kind of massively failing. They definitely want that to happen. Colress and Xerosic. I wonder if we're getting all evil supporters this set. Maybe a new boss's orders, or maybe we'll finally get whoever these people are. I don't know who these people are. I like these cards. They're playable. Yeah, I would agree. They're playable to a certain extent. Elusamine Gust effect. Yeah, if you played Xerosic, I guess. Hand Trimmers were trash, so they tried again. Yeah. Teoham, I agree. That exactly seems like what's happening right now. Xerosic doesn't even look that problematic. It's just annoying. Yeah, it's going to be really annoying, especially if you have some like really crazy local control players that just want to go off the top and really not win any games, but they're totally fine with ties. Yeah, it's going to be really annoying. Use Xerosic, then use Malamar to lure up a barrel. Enough said. Yeah, that's a good play. I could see that definitely. Not looking forward to playing against this card. Yep. Way better than area for hand disruption. Maybe. I mean, the problem with that is that area you get to pick, and if your opponent gets to pick with hand disruption, I mean, if there's a Charizard player, they're not going to pick the rare candies. You know, they're going to keep the Charizard and the rare candy. All right, guys, that's all I got for you this time. As always, I love you. Thank you so much for supporting me. Y'all have been awesome, and I'll catch you later. See you next time.